the Me Too movement continues to strike across all levels of society, and sports is no different. So I think, Rob, you've got the most insight into what the news is.
The Me Too movement, or does dudes just continue to be trash? Like,
no.
I think the Me Too movement is supposed to highlight that dudes are trash. Isn't that what it is?
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. So basically, there's a sports radio in New York City that's known WFAN. It's one of the biggest sports radios going on for like over 30 years, like decades. Mm-hmm. So it comes out that an ad saleswoman recently got let go, and she's suing the company for basically sexual harassment. One of the midday show head anchors, Joe Beningo, was sexually harassing her, trying to get her to have sex with his wife, him, and prostitutes. And then she blew the whistle on the whole company, saying it was basically a frat house. They would be drinking at 10 in the morning. They would be doing flip cup in the office during the day at 10 in the morning. Whiskey, Jameson was the drink of choice, apparently. They would have clients go to strip clubs, all on company tab, and that there's been constantly this womanizing and frat house mentality in this workplace environment. So it's just ironic how in sports this Me Too movement just keeps constantly showing its face.
So one of the interesting things is I'll read this verbatim here, what it says in this article. It says, in the lawsuit, the former ad executive, her name is Lauren Lockwood, alleges WFAN, FAN, and CBS Radio had an alcohol-fueled animal house, in air quotes, culture in its office that resulted in quote, flagrant sexual harassment, gender bias, unequal pay, unequal terms of commission, targeting of complainants, and retaliation, as well as protection and concealment of favored male talent's sexual misconduct, unquote. This is like, that's big. That's not just like...
That first statement is huge. It's like really bad for any company.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. And the reason why you saw my eyes open up was like, I actually had a colleague named Lauren Lockwood before. So I was like, wait, do I know her? But that's besides the point. This like misogynistic history of the workplace. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, that the decades have changed, right? Like what's acceptable 20 years ago is not acceptable today, and 40 years ago is even different from 20 years ago. But I think when you look back on it, I think it's this historical approach of passing on traditions in a very male-dominated way.
I don't mean to cut you off. I don't know if this was ever acceptable, but it was definitely more tolerated back in the day.
I think by not challenging it the way it's challenged today, I guess people consider that acceptability. And I agree with you. I think it was tolerated, which meant people said, yeah, that was cool. I mean, back in the days, I did the same things, and now my son's in the workplace and he does it, and he gets, called up by HR or whatever. It's like, and it's that mentality of the good old days, right? And it's no shocker that I believe he is 64 years old, right?
Yeah.
So it's no shocker that somebody of that age range, right, those baby boomers and beyond, who just like, oh yeah, these are things we're supposed to do in the workplace. This is good.
Ironic, sort of like the MAGA campaign, make America great again type deal.
Absolutely. I think that, the president of the United States, the person in the highest office in this country, is a perpetuator of this, right? It's like he made it into office even though he's explicitly been caught on tape saying that you should just do whatever you want with a woman when you see her, right? Like if you have any sexual interest in her, just go ahead, go for it, however you want. And he still made it into office, right? And it's like there's still a challenge in this country where we're trying to move along from that. But that's like a long history of this being passed on. And I know we talked about this offline. Most of us here are fathers. Some of you will be joining in the near future. It's our responsibility to teach our sons, like, that's not cool. Like the stuff that you're hearing that these people who are 60, 70, 80 years old, the Hugh Hefners of the world, may he rest in peace, was like, oh yeah, but he made a living doing that, and all the women were consensual, right? Like that. There was a reason why Hugh Hefner was everybody's idol when we grew up, because everything he did was consensual. This other side where it's like you see this group of people who aren't thinking about it that way, We have to eliminate